this. Now, I spent much of my formative years in corporate, in the finance sector. And here's effectively what happened. For you to get the 26%, you had to go to somebody to lend you the money to buy the shares. Listen to this, by the way, because it's very important for you to understand why I'm saying this. So, you had to get 26% of a company, but you didn't have money. Let's imagine the company was worth R1 billion net asset value. You didn't have 260 million rand. Remember, you'd spend much of your life in the bush fighting for liberation. You didn't have a pension. You understand? You didn't have medical aid. So where were you going to get 260 million to buy shares? So what happened there is many of these people went to large corporates, specifically banks, and raised money. This is what, by the way, I used to do. This money was called leverage. In effect, they leveraged the balance sheets, it's like debt, of the big companies to buy shares into those companies. To pay back that money, the company had to make a certain amount of profits, and from those profits declare a certain amount of dividends, so they could take the dividends flow and pay back the ownership. Now listen to why I'm telling you this. The white company selling 26% of its shares doesn't give the shares to the black shareholder until he's paid for the 26%. The black shareholder can't pay for the 26% until the white company pays dividends for him to pay his 26%. So the rate at which the transfer of ownership goes from the black shareholder or from the white company to the black shareholder is determined by the white company, not the black shareholder. Then adjust to the fact that this money wasn't given free. It has attached cost of capital, interest to it. So you borrow R1 billion, you have to pay back 1.4. These are the laws of finance, let's say. But here is perhaps the trickiest part of this whole thing. The white company overnight gets access to government tenders because it says, I am now black. So let's just study this. You have black shareholders who don't have actual ownership of the business. A white company that determines the rate at which the black shareholder can own the business, but the white company immediately benefits from government tenders. So the reason we haven't created high-growth, scalable black entrepreneurs is because there was no space for them to occupy or play into. Because the very same white companies simply transformed themselves at a superficial level, but kept benefiting from government tenders. Does this make sense? Right, I'm smart, no? Why am I telling you all this? Because my view, and this is my view, we need a different conversation around the true emancipation of black youth specifically. The conversation has to change. We cannot talk about it the way we've been talking about it. And we certainly cannot use the instruments we've used that have brought us to where we are today. I see some young people here today in school uniform. So let me tell you the numbers.